Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Got my cheat sheet for today's only main slate for today on DraftKings. Before we continue though, I want you guys to leave in the comments below your favorite sneaky home run call for tomorrow. Now don't give me Christian Yelich or Mike Trout because that's too obvious. So favorite sneaky home run call in the comments below. And anyway, before we, I already said that, remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out any of my new videos. I would really appreciate that. And if you'd like access to my entire MLB sheet and my Slack chat, the link is in the description below for my Patreon. And also NFL content is coming up. I know MLB it's starting to get to that point where MLB is kind of dying out, and because NFL is coming up, which I totally understand, but I am very excited for NFL to start. Gonna have tons of content for that. And anyway, let's get into this sheet. So at pitcher, we have Sonny Gray at 9,700, Cole Hamels at 7,800, and Michael Pineda at 8,900, and they all draw pretty nice matchups. So let's do a little quick dive into the pitching sheet to see why I like the guys that I like. So let's talk about Sonny Gray first. He's 9,700, and he's my favorite spend-up pitcher. I mean, he's not the most expensive pitcher on the slate, but at 9,700, I think he offers us tremendous value with upside similar to the guys at the very top. He's been excellent this season, 2.98 ERA, 3.61 xFIP, 28.7 strikeout rate, which is second on the slate, only to Shane Bieber. 9% walk rate, but hey, we'll live with it. He's only 9,700. It's not like he's 12K. And he gets a lot of ground balls at 52%. He's been elite versus lefties this season. 116 ISO, 28.6% strikeout rate, 253 WOBA, and he's been very, very good versus righties too. If you look at his splits, 27% strikeout rate, 145 ISO, 279 WOBA, and he's going to see a lot of righties in this matchup versus the Padres. Trevor Bauer just struck him out 11 times. So I can see similar production from Sonny Gray here. My fan just turned on again. Hold on. Okay. So yeah, I think we can see similar upside for Sonny Gray. Trevor Bauer got about 30 points. I think Sonny Gray can get about 25, 30 in this matchup. And my favorite pitcher on the board. He's not too expensive. And if we use him, we should be able to use a cheaper SP2, and we should be able to get the bats we want in our lineup. So I do like Sonny Gray a lot. And then I like Cole Hamels, or who's next? Michael Pineda. He's 8,900 versus the White Sox. Now, Michael Pineda is not the best pitcher in the world, but he's also not the worst pitcher. He's had some pretty decent games this season. He's pretty consistent, and he's got a 4.53 xFIP, 21% strikeout rate, which is much lower than the guys in this range. As you can see, you're seeing a lot of greens here. Then yellow stands out like a sore thumb there, but 4.7% walk rate's good. Now he doesn't get a lot of ground balls, which is a little concerning. But this is a good matchup versus the White Sox, who struggle versus righties. As you can see in their splits, they are striking out at a 26.3% clip versus right-handed pitching, 141 team ISO, 293 team WOBA, and a pretty low WRC plus, if that would show up. 81 WRC plus. So I think Michael Pineda is a fine option if you want to use him as your SP2 or your SP1. I have no problem with that. And then Cole Hamels is looking like a really good SP2 for me tomorrow. He has pretty decent numbers this season: 3.69 ERA, 4.16 xFIP, which is the better stat to use. 22.9% strikeout rate, which is respectable, especially for this price range. 8.4% walk rate, which is not the best, but it's not terrible. 49% ground ball rate, which is pretty good, and he's very, very good versus lefties, as you can see. 0.049 ISO given up, not a higher strikeout rate to righties, but that does come with a little bit more power given up to righties. So, but it's really the matchup versus the Giants. If you look at their team splits versus lefties, it's favorable for pitching. If I can find them, keep losing my spot here. Okay, yeah. So they don't strike out a ton versus lefties, the Giants, but they have no power whatsoever. 149 team ISO, 296 team WOBA, and an 83 WRC plus. I think this is a very soft matchup for Cole Hamels, and I don't mind using him as your SP2. He's fairly priced, and it's one of the lower Vegas totals of this slate. Or I shouldn't say one of the lower. And then the Giants have one of the lower Vegas totals on the slate. So don't mind going with Cole Hamels at all. And I also think Dallas Keuchel is a little interesting. I think he's going to be less owned than Cole Hamels. And I know last time he got absolutely blown up by Miami, but I think he's worth a shot. Again, not one of my favorite pitchers, though, but much prefer Cole Hamels, 100 cheaper. So anyway, let's get into the bats now. A lot of good offensive options today. So let's start with Yasmani Grandal at 4,200. Now, they're getting no hit right now. I don't know if he gave up a hit last time I looked, but, man, I had Trent Grisham and Mike Moustakas in cash, so hopefully they get a hit. But, yeah, Yasmani Grandal, 4,200 versus Michael Wacha. Wacha's not very good versus lefties or righties, and I think the Brewers can take advantage here and have a much better day than they're having right now. Michael Wacha is not nearly as good of a pitcher as Dakota Hudson is, so don't mind going with Grandal. He's still pretty cheap at 4,200. Jason Castro at 3,700. I love the Twins versus Reynaldo Lopez, who gives up power to lefties and righties, but a much lower strikeout rate to lefties. So I think the lefties are all in a really good spot here. Brian McCann at 3,600 versus Hernandez, who will give it up to lefties, and they're not in Miami, so it's a much better park for hitting in Atlanta. Then first base, Freddie Freeman for the exact same reasons I just said, but Freddie Freeman's an elite hitter. Paul Goldschmidt at 4,300 versus the lefty. Paul Goldschmidt's very, very good versus lefties. I mean, he's not like amazing versus lefties, but he's above average, and he's I'd argue very good. So I'm using him with that reduced price tag of 4,300. Then Anthony Rizzo versus Tyler Beatty, who will struggle with lefties. He's got a 25% strikeout rate to righties, and that dips into the teens when it comes to lefties. Then Luis Arias at 4,100 versus Reynaldo Lopez. Now, he's not going to be leading off again, I assume, if Max Kepler's back, but he should still have a decent spot in the order. And like I said, I want the lefties from the Twins, and he's very fairly priced, as all of the Twins are. Mike Moustakas at 4,500. Price is starting to creep up after he's had 2 really good games in a row. Not right now, he's not having a good game, but again, like the Brewers versus Michael Wacha. Wilmer Flores at 4,600. He's been hitting the ball really well. I believe he was the NL Player of the Week, if I remember correctly. And Kyle Freeland, he sucks versus righties, and Wilmer Flores is pretty good versus lefties. That's all he does, is lefties also. I do like using Flores. And then at third base, we have Eduardo Escobar, 5,100. He is very, very good versus lefties. Kyle Freeland, not very good versus righties. I do like the D-backs quite a bit tomorrow. I think they could be a lower-owned good stack. I'm not sure how much ownership they'll have in a 15-game slate, but I think it'll be low enough for me to have some interest there. Nolan Arenado at 5,400 versus Alex Young, the lefty. We all know Nolan Arenado crushes lefties, and I know it's not Coors Field, but Arizona's not the worst place in the world to hit, so don't mind going with Nolan Arenado. He should be low-owned. Marwin Gonzalez at 4K. He's been hitting the ball well recently, and he's just another lefty versus Reynaldo Lopez. At shortstop, we got Trevor Story, 5,400. Again, I know it's not in Coors. They're kind of priced like they're in Coors, but don't mind that game stack at all. I think there could be some runs scored here. Nick Ahmed at 4,600. He's pretty good versus lefties. Don't mind using him for the D-backs. Jorge Polanco, 4,500. I have him as a core play, which I know I haven't listed last, but I don't really list these guys as in terms of my favorite plays. I just kind of put on the sheet whoever I see first when I'm scrolling down DK and stuff. So, 4,500. I love him versus Reynaldo Lopez. He's much better versus right-handed pitching, so I like Polanco a lot. And then in the high-end outfield, we have Christian Yelich at 5,700 versus Michael Wacha. For obvious reasons, I like Christian Yelich. Ketel Marte, who's really, really good versus lefties, like his teammate Eduardo Escobar is. So I don't mind using him. Now, they're really expensive, but I do think they're in a pretty good spot. And then Mike Trout, for obvious reasons, he was like 70% owned last night. I thought he'd be high owned, but I did not think he was going to be 70%. That was pretty crazy. So I don't mind going with him again versus Palumbo in hitter-friendly park in Texas. Then in the mid-range outfield is where I'm going to live tomorrow. We got Eddie Rosario and Max Kepler. Now, they're pretty much the same exact plays or the same price versus the same pitcher, and they pretty much do the same thing. Although I will say Kepler was scratched with that illness. I didn't think that was going to be serious enough for him to not play yesterday, but I guess it was. Hopefully he's back in the lineup today. If he is, he's one of my favorite plays on the entire slate at 4,700, and same with Rosario. Then Justin Upton at 4,500. Now I know he's not very good versus lefties this season, but last night he still had a pretty good game. He's pretty cheap, and he's in Texas, and Texas pitchers are not very good. So outside of Mike Minor's okay, but no, I go with Upton. And then in the value outfield, we got Oscar Mercado, who's starting to get hot again. 4,200 versus Steven Matz. He's hit lefties very well this season. Matz struggles with righty power. Do like Oscar Mercado. Marwin Gonzalez, we already talked about. Jock Peterson at 3,100 seems a little too cheap versus Reed Foley. Now, if you look at Foley's numbers, let's take a look at the pitching sheet again. He's got if I can find him, he's got a 3 ERA, but if you look at his xFIP, it's 6.18. That's pretty massive difference, and doesn't have the highest strikeout rate. He's worse versus lefties, 204 ISO given up to them compared to a .093 to righties. So Don't mind the Dodger lefties here. I should actually probably add that on as a stack. I kind of was thinking about it and I just didn't do it, but I think they're in a good spot. And people might shy away from Foley if they just don't look at his advanced numbers and they see a 3 ERA. They're probably thinking, oh, he's a good pitcher, but his advanced metrics suggest a lot of regression there. That's like a 3 ERA and xFAB difference, which is pretty massive. Kind of like John Means, who just continues to have decent games. And then Josh Van Meter at 3,900 versus Cal Control, who struggles with lefties in a hitter-friendly ballpark too. Then the top stacks for me are in the core plays. I'll do the core plays first. Sonny Gray at 9,700, and then Polanco and Kepler at shortstop and outfield. And the top stacks for me are going to be the Twins, the D-backs, the Angels, the Brewers, and the Dodger lefties. I should say Dodgers lefties, or Dodger lefties. Yeah, there we go. Alright guys, that's all I got for the video. Remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my new videos. I hope this was very helpful to you, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Best of luck to you on Tuesday.